Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic:
who had the biggest fall from grace in history? Philippe Pétain was a national hero of France after World War I. He won the 9-month Battle of Verdun as a general and inspired hope and optimism at a time when it seemed like the war would never end. Fast forward to World War II and he became the head of state of Vichy France and was a puppet for the Nazis. He ran Vichy state in a semi-fascist manner and constantly sought to appease the Nazis to preserve Vichy's limited freedoms, including signing anti-Semitic ordinances and allowing deportation to concentration camps. At the end of the war, he was convicted of treason on all counts and originally sentenced to death before being reduced to life imprisonment by Charles de Gaulle on account of Pétain's advanced age and service during World War I. De Gaulle would later summarize Pétain's life as successively banal, then glorious, then deplorable, but never mediocre, and also, the Marshal is a great man who died in 1925. The trouble is, he didn't know it. Quote, China had a similar person. Wang Jingwei was beloved for his role in the 1911 revolution but is now viewed terribly for siding with the Japanese in World War II. His fate was different though. He died in 1944 from a wound he got from an assassination attempt in 1939. His tomb was destroyed by the ROC army and his burial place now has a note that calls him a traitor. Sounds like that attempt got upgraded to delayed success. Jimmy Savile, mega famous UK radio DJ and TV presenter. Did a ton of charity work. Was a knight of the realm. Post-death, he was revealed to be a massive paedophile, protected and ignored by those around him for decades. Edit. Savile not Savile. Massive paedophile, doesn't do it justice. He was one of the most vicious and prolific paedophiles ever in the UK's history apparently. He also fucked dead bodies at hospitals if I remember correctly. Johnny Rotten of all people called him out in the 1970s. And Johnny got in a fuckload of trouble for calling out pedo Jimmy. If only he was listened to back then. Don't forget Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols did a BBC radio interview 70s or 80s I think it was. John mentioned he wanted to kill a few people. When the reporter asked who, his response was, Jimmy Savile. We all know he's doing things he shouldn't be but we can't talk about that, can we? Quote. Or something like that. Needless to say that interview never saw the light of day until the sick bastard was dead. Here he is discussing it later. He claims that he was banned from the BBC because of what he said. Angus Deaton lost his job as presenter on Would I Lie to You? For making a joke about the Savile situation too. Bill Cosby. They say the worst part is the hypocrisy but I don't think so. I think the worst part is the raping. Rip Norm. Loved Norm calling out OJ every week too. Cost him his job. Icarus. Well if we're going there I would argue Lucifer Morningstar. Winner. Pretty sure it's the origin of the phrase, fall from grace. Benedict Arnold. Hero general of the American Revolution. One of George Washington's best assets. Felt slighted and overlooked by his contemporaries. Switched sides to the British, made no difference to the war effort. Died in disgrace in England. His name is now a synonym for traitor. Edit. Since this is getting some attention, for anyone interested in learning more about the man, I highly recommend watching Benedict Arnold, A Question of Honor, a TV movie from 2003. Starring Aidan Quinn as Arnold and Kelsey Grammer as Washington. Arnold had 2 horses shot under him, including one at the Battle of Saratoga, where he was instrumental in securing victory at Bemis Heights. Arnold was going between the lines while being shot at, unharmed for most of the battle as he urged his men on until both he and his horse was hit with the final volley as the British were fleeing and the Americans were taking the important position. Arnold's leg was shot and broken by the horse. Following this, the British at Saratoga surrendered. This was a major inflection point of the American Revolution, showing Europeans that the Americans were serious and could beat the British on land. And soon foreign aid was given openly. Had Arnold been killed that day, all over the Northeast you would see statues to this man. Instead there is but one monument to his injured leg in Saratoga that doesn't even say his name. When Benedict Arnold was leading the forces of the king against his former compatriots in Virginia, among his prisoners was a certain plucky and witty officer, who, in answer to Arnold's question, "What will the Americans do with me if they catch me?" Quote, replied, "They will cut off the leg which was wounded when you were fighting so gloriously for the cause of liberty, and bury it with the honors of war, and hang the rest of your body on a gibbet." Quote, if Ethan Allen didn't screw him over after Saratoga he would have risen much higher. I'm sure it didn't help that his wife favored the British. I still believe if he was patient just a little while longer he would have gotten recognized and become a potentially positive player in early American history. IARC it was Horatio Gates that screwed him over in Saratoga, not Ethan Allen. Most people are talking like the last decade, but Mary I of England came to my mind first. overcame huge threats and obstacles to her right to the throne. Because she had the support and love of the people, she defeated the attempted coup, ascended to the throne, showed mercy to the traitors, etc. Then promptly married an unpopular foreigner and tried to force everyone to follow her religion. If they didn't, they got burned alive. Then hubby skipped town anyway. And Mary slowly lost her marbles. And Calais. And kept burning people alive. History tends to remember her younger half-sister Elizabeth I a bit more favorably. Edit. OMG, what have I done? My friends, Tudor history is awesome, and dramatic, and insane, and fucking tragic, and very well documented by multiple contemporary sources. Go check it out. 100 years of more drama than you can imagine. For those saying Elizabeth killed more for religion than Mary did, here's someone who did some. Sourced. Quick and dirty math. https allthings.wordpress.com/2019/02/21/did-good-queen-best-kill-more-people-for-religion-t. Han Bloody Mary. Also, Mary did all her executions over the space of her 5-year reign. Elizabeth I reigned for 45 years and still managed to execute fewer people. I am still sympathetic to Mary I. Her life fucking sucked for about 1,000 reasons. Important update here. User Keith1USF has pointed out that Mary died on this day. November 17, 1558. I'm pretty sure we all need to go into the nearest bathroom. Close the door, turn off the lights and say, Bloody Mary, 3 times. And just, hope for the best. I mean, they didn't name the drink Bloody Mary because she donated blood for the needy. It was because she had celery sticking out of her head.